Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining Martha and me this morning, talking about the traditional approach to painting watercolor. So I'm going to say 80–90% of watercolors are painted, basically starting with light washes, painting through middle value, and then finishing up with the darks. This is our subject matter for today. And this is what I see so often in my workshops as I travel around, is the artist is using the right colors, using very nice washes, doing everything right, but building a page that is in the light and light middle value range. It has a lack of depth to it. I like where occasionally when they use middle values and darks. But if we were to cut this page out, except for this area right in here, everything else is somewhere in the light values, the light third. And all I'm doing is repeating the same colors, exactly the same colors, but I'm just sticking the brush a little deeper into the paint well. I'm not trying to jump to the darks. When I get into the middle value range, I tell myself to slow down, paint through middle value. That's where we get the richness, the depth that we're after in watercolor, instead of having everything somewhere in the lights. Getting rid of most of the white paper. If you want to show off the whites, you have to get rid of most of it. Little variation in the color page. I'm just barely sticking a little bit of yellow into that blue-gray, and that'll give us just a hint of a greener note in there. And don't want much, just some indication. Let that blend on the page. Now, everybody, this is light middle value. And I want to stay. This is the beginning of the middle value range. This is the lightest part of the middle value range. Boy, that's a good place to build for a long time in your painting. So I'm going to stay here. I'm going to make some adjustments, little alterations, that kind of thing. And while I've got it on my brush, I'll come over to the other side as well. Since I pre-wet, that's all blending, and that's kind of what I want it to be. I want it to be a bit warmer here. Maybe just a touch of burnt sienna as well. did you see that I moved on top of it? And that now is creating a softer edge quality there. Now, is that too dark? And I'm gonna just feather it out just a little bit. I like to quote Ed Whitney. He was a wonderful teacher. I never studied with him, but I've read all his books. I know all of his students. And one of the things he would say is, if it looks right when it's wet, it's wrong. And I kind of agree with that. We lose a little something when the paint dries, and it's. I've heard Rex Brandt, another favorite painter, who would compare this to when we pick up a seashell at the beach and it's all beautiful and glowing and transparent, and then we put it in our pocket, and when we get home we empty our pockets and it's still a beautiful shell, but it doesn't have that luminosity quite as nicely as it did when it was wet. So that truly describes watercolor, that we lose just a bit, and I find it is maybe beneficial to just strengthen that pigment a touch more than what we think, because it will lighten fuse. I'm trying to find a little bit different color, a little greener note perhaps. Don't want this to be, there we go. So I went a different direction there, honey. Let me move the mat now. Thinking in terms of value, I'm sticking my brush into that cerulean blue and then right up on the page, so we're not watering it down. And that, from experience, I know that cerulean blue will, at its purest form, will be right about exactly on middle value. So that's what we're looking for. And I want to have a shout out to our dear, dear friends. They're maniacs from Maine, painter friends for 25 at least years. Louis and Margie Rizzo. Love that Italian name. Louis got as much of a Maine accent as I have an Alabama accent. So you should hear the two of us talk. I always remember he was we used to teach up in New Hampshire, and I was critiquing Louis, and I told him that the foreground area in his painting was a little bit bland. You need to put something in there, Louis. And he said, well, I could put a hoss. And a hoss? What is a hoss? Oh, you mean a horse? Just great days, great friend. I lived in New Hampshire when Martha and I married for 8 years. So every day when I go to the store or go somewhere, first thing out of people's mouths were, "You're not from around here, are you?" Textural things don't want to just paint weeds. They are darker, and then I want this up close to be lighter, so there's a division there. But I'm pre-wetting, maybe just let this a bit of a textural abstract. Very delicate. Just the old footprints on the beach. And then I'm coming in and softening them up, softening occasionally. The job of the lights and what are going to be the darks coming up, the job of the light of the darks are to create drama. Those big value changes demand attention. We're planning on painting this a couple of times to have a variety in the darker trees. Now I'm switching over. I don't want that to just all be one color. And a little blue. I'm trying to change the value and the color mixture. And let's just mix a gray. Let that go to gray in there. Wet it down. Let it blend. And touch in. So it's a little greener, a little redder, a little bluer in there, a little grayer. I want some variety in the edge quality of the darks. Dark. Letting that kind of go over this way, a little this way. Wetting it down. Altering the color. I'm looking for variety. Just putting magenta in this. We haven't used that yet, so I'm sticking that up, sticking that in there. Letting that, and then right into that, I'm placing ultramarine as well. So trying to get some variety in these dark washes. Just a little. Still too high and too equal. Do you see that? That's so the same. Anytime I use that word equal, that's a bad thing. That helped out a little bit. It's other than. And now again, look at, it's such a good lesson for all of us in terms of value. Look at how this is drying lighter. It looks so powerful and dark. Then when it dries, where does the dark go? So just challenging myself. I'm going to find a little variety in the color, variety in the value of my darks. I need to soften this a little bit, but I'm going to wait. Let's let this guy just a bit. Find another rock over here. Give it an off-center shape there. Some adjustments. And let me wet him down now. Get that wet. And let that kind of be the first step. Just want to find him a little bit. Little bit there. And then let him go into, I'm doing this while it's wet, everybody. So I'm coming in and dropping this down darker, but it's soft edge, it's blended there. And that, if it gets to be too much or it's too flat, I'll just come in and lift out a little bit as well, and not just have it all the same color. I need tickling there. A lot of tickling. And then under that ball cap, I'm going to just touch that a bit darker. Right. Right. Hey, everybody. Thanks for being with us. If you enjoyed the demo, give us a thumbs up and write a comment. And if this is the kind of content you're looking for in watercolor, please consider subscribing to our channel. It helps Martha and me out more than you know. Thanks again. See you soon. I have had a chance, and that always happens. I always tell people, step back from your painting. Don't just paint. Look at the painting in a mirror. You'll see things that you didn't see with your nose on the page. And I've been bugged by these two rocks here. and not really sure why, but I stepped back during the break, and now I look at the shape. They're identical shapes. That edge bothers me. They're identical shapes, and they are parallel, so they're equal. Getting a little darker. Don't want to be too dark. Grade in there. Let that be a different shape. That helps already, just to get it off of being that equal thing. And a different. Let put somebody in front as well.